Hello and a warm welcome to everyone all around the world. I greet you, people from different nations. My name is Isaac Oyeleke, and I want to welcome you to Spirit Archive. Thank you for joining us today on this episode. And this is Spirit Archive, and by God's special grace, we'll be starting a series that we have tagged Essence, defining the light of life. The scripture makes us to understand in the book of Revelation chapter 4 verse 11 that thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory, honor, and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. God has its reason and intention while He made us and while He created things that we have in existence, and that is the reason why God has brought this particular series that this season that we call Essence, to be able to divine lights of creation and divine the intentionality of God, why He brought some things into creation, and most importantly, man, who is the center part of this creation as it regards time on earth. As we have to put it on or categorize it according to relevance. Within this earth sphere, man is the most important factor, or let me call it the most important entity within this earth system. So on this episode, we'll be considering a topic that we tag Spirit on a Journey. Spirit on a Journey. Once again, I welcome you, and I'll be back after this short time out. Alright, you're welcome back. I know God is building something, just like I've said, Spirit on a Journey. God is building something that is beyond understanding of a man. It is beyond comprehension of even any entity here on earth or in heaven. If you are not needed in eternity, you will not appear in time. If you are not needed in eternity, you will not appear in time. In fact, to say it, even if you are not needed in time, you will not appear. You will not appear in time if you are not needed. You won't be sent here to the earth. You won't be created, nor will you be formed if you are not needed in this earthly time. So when the fullness of your time comes, you are bound to appear when it is time for you to appear in time. Because you see, your coming to heart or your creation has nothing to do with the intimacy between your parents. You are not a function of the coming together of your parents, even though that is an important factor. But if your father has not met your mother, both of them do not get married, yet you will still have come through another person or another people. So your relevancy on here, or your coming or stepping to earth, is not a mistake. It's not because somebody go and meet another person and they say that okay, it was just a pregnancy that come by mistake, that you are born as a result of that, you are born a mistake. No, you are a program in God that is born to appear or to come. And when God was bringing you here on earth, you know the specific time that your program will be relevant. Just like we've said, if you've listened to some of our episodes that we made establish that if you have come far before now, like you might not have functioned according to that program. You are bigger than the previous generation. The program that is set within you is actually much more bigger than, because our spirit still or longer with God, then our program become revised higher. So you stepping into time at this particular time make you more highly defined, highly refined, highly upgraded, far better than people that have come before now. So to state the fact or the point within this phrase is that if you are not needed in eternity, you won't appear in time. And in fact, if you are not needed in time, you will not appear on earth. You won't be born at all. So your coming to earth has a reason, and it has a specific time and also locational sensitive. Where you are born is also as a result of God's program. Your territory, your location, it's a divine orchestration. So let's rush down back to the beginning of beginnings, to the beginning of time, which is the beginning of the earth, when God began to form things at the first day, the second day, as we all know the story. But there are some specific points that I want to bring out today. Let me start by saying we are all spirit in God. God is building something, is building an idea of a class of entity of being that has never been. It's just like a scientist sitting down and just saying that I want to build a program that has never been heard of before. I want to build something that it will become relevant for so many years, that has so many dimensions. The operation of it will be beyond just a normal comprehension. I don't want just want to build something that is normal. I want to build something that is extraordinary. So those are the ideas that of the thing that God has in mind when He wanted to create man. So the name of that program is called man. But originally the beginning was that man was a spirit in God. We are an entity in God. But God wants to build another entity, another program that is far greater than just a spirit. God wants to make us much more than, because there are many spirits, but the spirit that God wants to form this time around will not just be a spirit, but it will be God. The class of entity or the program that God wants to finish or want to fulfill in his exploration is the ideal of an entity or a program that is far beyond the spirit, but that is like Him. It is God. So that is why He keeps referring to man in so many times that ye are gods. What is man that thou art so mindful of him? Because it's a program that is beyond a normal human comprehension. So now, just like we've been saying, you will see that now when God wanted to start creation, He wasn't just doing or just say, okay, let's just create the light, let's just create this thing, and now thought, oh, I think I need to. No, everything was orderly. God already has seen the end even from the beginning. So the coming of Jesus to this earth was not because man fell. It was ordained, is a design that He will come here on earth. So everything that has happened wasn't happened to God by mistake, or that He doesn't know it. The fall of man was not a mistake. It's not that God does not know about it or does not know that even man will fail, but it is a part of the planning, of the installation and the initialization of God's life within man. Because you see, man was made, what the intention of God is that man will be made in the image of God. But that image of God is not just a spirit. That image of God carried a lot of divinity. It carries a lot of entity within just a man. So that is why you will even see, like right now, that already as you are sitting down, as you are hearing me, or as you are walking, you already carry the different entity within you as you are sitting down now. Even though you may not believe me, we just know that okay, we are body, spirit, and soul. That's already three personality inside of a man, or inside of just a singular person. Though we'll be defining the reason why all these things have to be. So just like I have said earlier, that we are a spirit on a journey. We are able to understand in the book of Revelation chapter 13 verse 8 that Jesus, or let's call it that, the lamb was slain or from the foundation of the earth. So at the very foundation of the earth, because we are not told that the earth was formed, but we know that the formation of the earth is the beginning of time. So the formation of the earth, a lamb was already crucified that we are only seeing about 2000 years ago. So but even before man was formed, there is already a blood that was spilled upon the earth, which is now part of the material that created his body. So you know that the dust of the earth that was taken already has the blood of the lamb there. So when God was bringing man, or taking man, extracting man out of the dust of the earth, there is already the blood of the lamb within his body. So even if he fell, there is already a dimension of salvation even in his body. I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to say. So now God did not now say, okay, because man has now failed, let's now quickly make let Jesus now come, and when Jesus now come, he will not die for their sin. No. So God already had the program in his mind. He has already sketched out the installation of life. Don't forget, I said that there is the spirit which is in God, but God now extract that spirit so that he can build something which is out of himself, because that is what's making God. If God has source for spirit outside of himself, then that thing, or to create things, then that thing can actually be another God. But God source himself as the material. That is what makes God the father of creation, and also is also the mother of creation. So God started by extracting that spirit, which is where the journey of the spirit starts. The journey of the spirit starts. So it started from the extraction of the life. Then God formed man out of the, he said God formed dust. He created what we know as the body of man out of the finest part of the head, which is the dust of the head. God formed it, and you know that I said that the formation of that was already as the dimension of the blood of the lamb within that body. So God now breathed that breath of life that we call the spirit inside of the body, and the marriage of this of the spirit and the body created another entity that is called the soul of man. Genesis chapter 2 verse 7, it said that God it said that, and man became a living soul. So soul was not created in another way, or the soul was not created in another another instance. It was that journey that created the soul. So the coming in of the spirit into the body brought another person that is called what? The soul. So the journey has now already created three different entities inside of one personality: the spirit, the soul, and the body, which was the dust of the head. So you already have three entities that is now called man. And God saw that it was good, but that is not the end. That is not all that God wants to make man. Even though God said it was good, but God didn't say that perfect. God didn't say I am done, because the installation of the idea that God has in his mind, which is like him, cannot be done in a day, or cannot be done on that sixth day. It will take a lot of time and the writing of several programs before the ideal of the class of the gods can be formed inside of a man. So God has that idea of creating man, but the 6th-day work that was completed was not what fully formed what God wanted to build, and it was a design. God intended that installation will take time, and the installation actually takes time, and it's taking time. Now, what was sealed as the fall that came as a result of maybe man eating out of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil also was not a mistake. God already knew that also, because let me give you something that is profound that I was beginning to understand even as I study on this topic, was that now you see that the devil thought that he was causing havoc, or that he was destructing the agenda of God, but he didn't know that he's also part of that plan of the formation of man, because God wants to build man to become gods, but gods are judges, and judges you cannot be a judge if you don't know how to discern between good and evil. Ability for you to be able to decipher between good and evil make you a judge, but you cannot be a judge if the only thing that you know is what is good. So the design of God is that we become like him, but before we can become like him, we must be able to be masters of realms and masters of beings. And that is the reason why, for us to enter the God mode, what I mean, for us to become like God, for the ideal of the kind of invention or the kind of personality of entity of life that God wants to form, then we must be able to master realms and master beings and master things. So now, that is the reason why every of creations, both in heaven and earth, must be part of like the ministrations of things in heaven and things on earth must be part of what man will be beneficiary of. Hence the introduction of Lucifer, because Lucifer is also a being. Because you may see or you may ask, why is the devil introduced into creation? But what we do not know is that that is part of God's plan and formation of making us to become strong and making us to be God. Because we did not partake of that ministration of affliction that is brought by the devil, of being mastered by him, there is no way we can become strong. And we may not be able to discern between what is good and what is bad. So the devil is placed in such a way that his ministration, or what he may be calling as his downfall, is God's wisdom of making us to become strong. So our affliction today is not supposed to be our fault, but a stepping stone of making us to become strong to be like God. So within our affliction, we must be able to discern and decode what is that portion of God that must be extracted from this situation that we are currently in, or that I am currently in. The program that God is forming, which is man, we have a taste of all things that has been created. It will have a dimension, because if God want to form gods, this kind of gods that God want to form, we have everything. We journey with every spirit that has ever been created. That is what will make him God. This is what I'm saying. For every creation and every creature that has been in existence, or that will be in existence, even though it seems to be the last of invention, or of invention as it has been recorded, or as it's been recorded, but what God wants to form, now we have the formation of the dimension of all things that were created. Hence the reason why we are partaking of the ministrations of angels. The angelic dimension is open to us. We are partaking of it, and we are learning how that program runs. Hence the reason why we are eating foods, because foods and trees that bring them about also like carriers of a dimension of the life of God. They also have that life of their own. So man is partaking of that program. Hence, the reason why some animals are also in existence here on earth, because we may think that animals are just dead, that they don't have relevance. If some creatures are not created, there will be a dimension of God that will never be shown to creation, or that the glory of God that will never step here on earth. Imagine if there was no lamb. How are we going to learn about meekness that was fully formed in Jesus? How are we going to access that gateway of entrance into God through Jesus the Lamb? If we did not see the boldness of the lion, how are we going to be able to see or tapping into that dimension of God? If we don't learn about the ego is not in existence. How are we going to reach God through that gateway? To talk about the wisdom of the serpent, to talk about the donkey, to talk about the fearfulness or the fiercefulness of the horse, to talk about the dove, to talk about different creatures that are in existence. See, there are many creatures that are in existence, but we can't, even the fish, most of them. See, there are many creations that are in existence. We may not be rightly able to define what they represent, but they have a relevance, and that relevance directly points there is intercorrelation with man. Like there is the relationship between the existence of man and the creation that are here on earth. We will not be able to know how this thing connects, but if the dots or their DNA in the formation of the body of the earth, if their DNA is removed from earth, there is a dimension of God that will be lost forever, or there is a dimension of the glory of God that man will never see. Hence, some animals that have gone into existence have actually locked up a dimension of God forever that earth may not be able to see again. So most times, let me bring it more closer to you. You know, why do we eat? Why do we have to take trees? Why do we take herbs? Why do we most things that we eat, we just think we are just because we are human, we have to, because it's a design by God that man will partake of every creation, of everything. God's portion. There is let me call it an installation of the divine life of God that was kept in some of these creations that we have. The trees, there is a dimension of God, but man must taste or partake of that dimension or extract. Yes, let me call it the extraction. God put his life to some of these things so that we may extract life from this thing into ourselves, the spirit that is there. See, what you call living things, most of the things that we feed upon, yes, they are living things. You eat trees. Tree is part of what you call living things. Animals that will feed on as meat, they are part of the living things. But you see, there cannot be life without spirit, and there cannot be spirit without God. There cannot be life without spirit, and there cannot be spirit without God. Let me define it more clear. There cannot be living things without life, and there cannot be life without what? Without spirit, and there cannot be spirit without God. So that is a journey. So it means that now, if I'm eating a fruit that comes from the tree, I am eating living thing which has life, which has spirit, which has God. I don't know if you can trace it. I am eating a fruit which has life, which has spirit, which has God in it. So when I eat it, I've already reached an installation of God, because you see, those things that you eat, you see that most time is not the same thing that maybe the waste that comes out of your body. They are not the same thing. Those things is broken down as cells within your body, and they remain part of you. See, because that is what you've been eating, are the things that formate your height or your growth up to this level. They are the things that formate your growth even up to this level. So you should be able to design and find out that most of these things that we eat or partake of is actually an installation of God? Or why do you think that we will go and take, or who you call pharmacists now, most of what they drugs that we take, most of them are taken from the herbs of the field or extractions of stuff from animals. And I know there are people that are specialists in that area, but most of these things that are now extracted and refined is an extractions of DNAs of plants and animals and things that God has already placed and blessed on earth. So you may not be taking herb and you are taking drug. As you are taking the drug, you are taking that drug, and that drug is now making your body, which is part of man, the God or the program that God is running, not to be. So there are programs here on earth. I know you are getting what I'm trying to say. There are programs here on earth. If tree should go into extinction, there is an installation of God or the life of God in a man that will stop or that will cease forever. Imagine if we do not have food, which is to preserve the installation of this program here on earth. If we do not have food, we do not have all those things in place. There is a program of God that what will not be able to continue his installation if some things should go into extinction. So things on earth have their relevance. Things on earth have their reasons and light why they exist. So things here on earth have their existence. You are a spirit on a journey, and you are journeying from now into becoming God. So first, your journey starts as a spirit. You were joined with a body and you became what? A living soul. But that's not just what God is forming. That becoming of a living soul now has to get many installation which has already started from the day you are born. What you've been eating has actually been installing God in you. And that's one in the body, and what you've been getting and grabbing, which is what what you've been learning has actually been an installation within your soul, which is the seat of your memory. And most of these things are the things that we will be defining even as we continue on this series. And I see the Lord helping us in the name of Jesus. Alright, thank you for joining me and joining us on this episode, and I'm very grateful because you took your time to listen and be partaker of God's blessing. By the special grace of God, in the coming days we'll be having special people that will also be joining us on this podcast, and I won't be the only one within this few series November and December. I won't be the only one dishing out this lights that we are saying. So be expectant and be ready to receive the divine light of God. And I see the Lord helping each and every individual of us in Jesus' name. I remain yours in faith. I remain your brother in faith, Isaac Oyeleke. God bless you and shalom.